going on, everybody? Welcome to Jack Ramsays, Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague, and special guest, Trailblazers rookie wing forward. You're kind of going back and forth now. I think you started this year as a forward. Now you're a wing, right?
Yeah.
Iowa legend, young Kris, Mr. Perfect, Kris Murray. Kris, thanks for taking the time, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Fresh off team dinner.
Don't bury the lead. Hold on, Danny. Don't bury the lead. You're
Iowa
not
legend.
offer this man an opportunity to dance about Caitlin Clark.
There you
Iowa
go.
Getting to the Final Four.
I know they played WAP's LSU Tigers yesterday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, were exchanges made?
No exchanges. Just trash talk.
Just a lot of trash talk. Unfortunately,
Right now.
Skylar Mays isn't around to stir the pot a step further. Another LSU Tiger.
Exactly.
But it's got to be great for you, though. Iowa, both on the men's and women's side over the last couple of years, incredibly good, as it were. The punt god does not transfer to basketball. You guys able to put up points with no problem.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite. We're always running gun. Girls' side's running gun, and then football is a lot slower. But it's fun. It's fun to watch for me.
Both on
I
the men's and
know
women's
you
side over the
follow
last
it
couple of
along.
years.
You got, first season's happening. You get really busy. I'm just curious, like for those of us who haven't been to Iowa, the men's team is really good. What Caitlin has done though for the women's game and for women's basketball in Iowa, like how do you put that into words for people that haven't been there to see like the impact of what she's done for the program?
Yeah, it's such an unbelievable city. Iowa City is, and just being able to have like that buzz around it that football has had in the past, that men's basketball has had in the past, and now women's basketball, like what she's kind of created it's truly special and like once in a lifetime. So everyone, like while she's here, you just gotta be grateful for it and just kind of just take it in. So I mean, off the court too, like she's like such a good person, just down to earth. And I've gotten to know her over the years. We were the same class going into Iowa together, lived in the same apartment complex, and just got to know her has been really cool. So I mean, everything she's done for that program, just kind of put Iowa on the map, put women's basketball on the map. It's definitely a once in a lifetime thing.
Part of the reason we like to do these series, especially with rookies, is to kind of help people get to know you better, understand you a little bit more, your path, your journey, where you're at now, where you're trying to get to. So you're Iowa born and bred. Through. Just give us the 30,000-foot view of how you end up at Iowa, you and your brother, and kind of how everything kind of progressed there.
Yeah, it was a unique journey. My dad played at Iowa from 92 to 96, and I grew up a Hawkeye fan my whole life. But like coming out of high school, both of us, we weren't very recruited. So we went to prep school down in Florida, took a post-grad year there, and then ended up getting recruited back to go to Iowa. And it's just kind of one of those things where like I feel like even if I wasn't from Iowa and my dad didn't play at Iowa, I still would have committed there just because like the fit was perfect. And I want to play for Coach McCaffrey. I knew that he believed in me, and he recruited Key and I differently too, like separately. And a lot of coaches didn't do that.
Interesting. What was different about the recruiting process between you and Keegan?
He just saw us as individuals. He knew he was like one of the only coaches that saw differences in our game and how we could kind of impact Iowa at the college level. And he had two different visions for us, and he saw mine taking that leap my third year, and Keegan's was taking that leap that second year. And it was just something in that meeting on my visit that I knew I believed in him. I knew he wasn't just speaking crap to me. I knew that he had my best interest in mind, and that's what made me want to play for him.
Did that jump out to you guys right away, the process of recruiting separately? Because I just would have thought like in that situation, recruiting together is the way to go, but recruiting separately is such an interesting way to do it. And clearly it worked. Like, when did you figure out like, oh man, we're not actually being recruited the same way. This is drastically different.
Yeah, it was just kind of a fresh thing that happened. Cause like throughout the whole process, we were always just kind of like lumped together. And, even though we said how much that we didn't want to be, it just kept happening. So just kind of having that fresh perspective from Coach, I mean, it meant a lot to both of us and my family. And I mean, when you go to Iowa, it's like he treats you like you're one of his sons. Like he tells you he loves you, and he truly means that. And that's one of the things that I definitely appreciate.
What was that process like for you, watching your brother kind of blow up and knowing that you're like, okay, I'm getting there, but it's going to take me just a little bit longer? Like, what was that like for you mentally to kind of understand that process, that like, even though it's not my time today, I know it's coming, and then having that year at Iowa that you had last year?
Yeah, I've always kind of been like that. Like Keegan's always been the one, like the more offensive kind of star type of player. And even in high school, like he was really good our sophomore year, and I didn't play much our sophomore year. So just going into college, I knew like Keegan was having a really good year our sophomore year, and I was playing the backup 5 minutes. So I was kind of doing everything it took to just be on the court and kind of just impact our team in a positive way. And just watching him play as well as he did and accomplish the things. We won a Big Ten championship together, and that's just something that, as brothers, that we dreamed of, especially just being from Iowa, playing for the university, and getting a ring. I mean, that was really cool, and just seeing him kind of accomplish his dreams that year just made me want to work even harder to try to accomplish mine that next year.
Well, enough about Keegan. We're not here to talk about Keegan. We're here with Kris Murray. I want to know how his rookie year going for Kris Murray so far. I know the record might not be what every player coming in the league hopes for, but how has the season gone for you? What was it like when you started, and how do you think you've progressed, I think, from that point to where you guys are now with just a handful of games left in the season?
Yeah. Obviously playing in the G League, that helped me a lot, especially the first half of the year, just kind of getting those reps that I wasn't getting with the Blazers. And just kind of when I first got the start in Denver, it just gave me a lot of confidence. And just talking to coach, I knew that he trusted me, and just wanted to see me play a lot more, and just helped me build a lot of confidence off of those 2 games in Denver. And after All-Star break, just kind of wanted to kind of prove myself on the defensive end for the most part. I know that offense will always come, but defensively, that's kind of where I wanted to make a big stride this year. So just coach putting me on different guys, primary ball handlers, shooters, just kind of getting those reps, guarding off of ball screens, just kind of using my length and my quickness to disrupt that, I think has been a big strength of mine that I kind of didn't know I had this year. So defensively, I feel like I've made a lot of strides, and just kind of want to keep doing that going to the offseason.
I want to dive into this immediately, because
Sure.
One of the things that you and I have talked about a little bit over the last couple of weeks was your defensive growth and how you're being deployed. And I think it was when you guys came back from that Denver trip that I asked you about that. And I was like, have you ever kind of really taken on that challenge, guarding primary ball handlers, and what was that like? And you kind of looked at more as like a 3-4, maybe even more 4 when you came in, but now you're guarding 1 through 4, which was different. And you stop me and you go, no, I've never guarded any like primary ball handlers before. And I was like, wait, what? And you're like, I've never had to navigate screens like that. I've never had to like deal with guys that are on the ball that much. But I think I'm paraphrasing. I think you said something along the lines of, turns out I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
He's guarding Edey over here. He's not used to
I was guarding like Zach Edey, Kofi Coburn, Hunter Dickinson. So like I'm used to just like bruising with guys in the post a little bit. So, but I knew I've always been like quick with my feet and light moving around. So getting those reps and just like guarding like Duncan Robinsons, the Michael Porter Juniors, those guys who were really good cutting off screens, I kind of found like my little niche that I had, just being able to navigate those kind of screens, and then getting reps against Shea and Ant Edwards, and those guys have helped me a lot, just in my growth defensively.
What's it like to go from guarding the Edeys, the big guy, guys that have 50, 60, 70 pounds on you and God, 6-8 inches in height, to having to top lock Duncan Robinson running 3 miles a game? Like mentally, what is that transition like? Because there's, in that Miami game in Portland, it's funny that you mentioned Duncan. I called out probably 4 or 5 different times where on the right wing you navigated over and over and over on screen, rescreen, down screen, over and over again, because it was one of the first times you'd really gotten that opportunity. And bluntly, you were working your ass off, and I didn't know you had that. Like, so what was that thing that was like, I've never done this before, I need to work, but it seemed like almost naturally you had that feel of how to take those angles defensively and how to stay tight and to not drop too far away and give that space and have him flip back over. Like, what are you watching tape ahead of time and understanding that, or is it just more natural feel?
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit of both. Like one of my coaches when I was in like elementary school, middle school, has always said basketball it's a game of angles, and I kind of took that as when I was guarding post up guys because like I wasn't going to be stronger than them. I wasn't going to be like lower body, upper body. I wasn't going to be stronger than them. But so it was all angles and position wise. So I kind of treat that the same as how I guard wings and guards. It's all angles. So like obviously it's a lot of film watching, kind of seeing guys' tendencies and what they like to do coming off screens and how they go with guys going under, how they go with guys going over. So I mean, yeah, for me, it's just all angles and position. The earlier I kind of get a hint at what they're going to do, the better. So if I'm thinking the game faster than they are, I feel like it helps me a lot. It gives me kind of an upper hand in a way.
And let me ask you, I'm curious about the defensive part of this because I think people like myself that don't dive into maybe all of the analytics of basketball, like some of this stuff is like, see it, recognize it, see that it's good, bad, whatever. I'm curious defensively. I could ask you this question for offense, and I think it'd be fairly simple for you to respond with, but I'm curious, how do you measure your defense with any analytics? Like, how do you measure that? Is it a feel thing? Is it hey, when we watch film, I'm in these positions more often than not? Is it, hey, some of the numbers against, when I guard these guys or that guy? How do you evaluate defense for yourself, I guess, given all the changes you've had to make, what you were in college to what you've been in the NBA?
Yeah, for me, it kind of depends who I'm guarding, but it's kind of just touches, like how many touches they get and how effective they are with them. So whether it's if they have like a touch and they get an assist, like I kind of think of that like as a negative. And like if they get a good look, like I don't want them to have that. So I know guys are going to hit tough shots. It's the NBA. That's the reality of it. So for me, it's just kind of limiting how easy their playmaking is, if that makes sense. I just don't want anything easy for my opponent. So it's not too much analytical, but it's more just because I get frustrated too. That's kind of what I notice is when guys score on me, and that's something that I kind of got to realize that it's going to happen. Sometimes we play against the best 450 basketball players in the world, so I know it's going to happen. But yeah, for me, it's always just been kind of taking away the easy things.
He's from Iowa though, Danny. So he's used to defense being better than the offense.
Yeah, it's true.
But this is the NBA.
It's ingrained.
Beats best defense.
Also, Kris showing his emotion on his sleeve. It's him and I have talked about that all season. Not great at hiding it, good, bad, or otherwise. On that note, I want to flip over. Actually, I want to get to that next. Coming into the season, I'd watched a lot of tape, but typically you're a rookie. No matter how experienced you are, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to stumble and you're going to get things wrong. And everything I kept hearing was you don't have to tell Kris twice. Chauncey started telling me that he was calling you Mr. Perfect because he doesn't have to correct you on the same thing twice. Why do you think that you're different in that vein, that you pick up and you hold on to stuff better than pretty much any rookie that I've come across?
I also think it's just how like my parents raised me. I didn't want to be told twice to do something. I've always been kind of like that, like kind of just like type A about making mistakes. Even when I played baseball growing up, football, those types of things. So I've always tried to like not make a mistake twice. Like that's just kind of always been my thing. And now like being a professional, you have to be able to like critique yourself, but also kind of live your life mistake free in a way. I know that it's going to happen sometimes, but making mistakes twice or having someone tell you to do something twice, that's just it's just not how I was raised, and just kind of an attribute that I kind of gained over time, I feel like.
I want to backpedal here real quick. You said baseball.
Yeah.
What side do you hit on?
I'm all lefty.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
how did you not become a switch hitter?
I'm not good with my right hand.
okay.
Oh man.
On that point,
Good
which hand does
hand.
your brother shoot with?
He's a right-handed, but
Okay.
he does everything else lefty, which it's the same as my dad too.
So,
That's a trip.
yeah, this Chris was telling me him and his dad and his brother all left-handed, and your dad tried to make you shoot right-handed, and you said,
Yeah, I didn't shoot. Like we had like a little pike hoop, and Keegan was always shooting like right-handed, and I would always just be dunking because I didn't want to shoot right-handed. So I was always just a natural lefty. I've always been kind of the more like outgoing one, I guess, out of me and Keegan, and would kind of defer the rules a little bit. But yeah, I've always just been lefty.
So the only thing you've been told more than twice to do is to shoot with your right. It's the one thing you refuse to actually do.
The one thing that I
The
did
one
not
thing.
listen to.
all right, on the shooting note, you and I have talked about this throughout the season. Early on, you were trying to hone some things down, and you were working on like the no dip, speeding up your shot release, and making sure you're kind of getting things done. And you and I have talked about how the NOAA tracking data. That for those that don't know, that all of the shots at the Trailblazers practice facility are tracked, and they can tailor them back to each individual player, and it'll track everything about the shot: release point, speed, angle of release, rotation, all that stuff. And for you, and speaking of showing your emotion, you get frustrated when you miss, and it shows. But you built this level of confidence from the beginning of the season where you were struggling. And you go down to the remix and you find your shot. And then you get to the point where on the season, you're shooting incredibly well from the corners, but you're still struggling from above the break. And you and I have kind of talked about this, about the differences between those, and the speed and timing and being a bit mental. What is it about learning how to shoot in the NBA that just takes time?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you don't have a lot of time when you're shooting sometimes, especially with that, like the athletes you have in the NBA. And for me, it's kind of been a love-hate relationship with my shot this year. But yeah, like with the NOAA, like my left and right misses are pretty good. So I don't miss a lot left and right. So it's just in the game, I have to apply it better and just not rush myself. I think that's kind of where I've been getting in trouble this year, is just rushing my shot and just not taking my time. So I feel like that's something that I'm gonna work hard on this summer. Just being more consistent in that area, because I feel like once I get that down, I mean, it opens up a lot more to my game as well. Like just second and third moves, attacking closeouts, which is one of the best things I'm good at. So honing that down is gonna be huge for me, and just looking forward to just getting better. And I've been shooting with confidence, so that's something that I haven't. That hasn't left me. So just in the summer, just working on that and summer league, and just applying what I learned over the summer, and all the work that I'm going to put in.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think there's a misconception among fans that players do a lot to change things in the season.
Mhm.
You're not breaking down your jumper in the season. You're tightening the screws around it, but you're not fundamentally changing what you're doing. You're just trying to get more reps and try to lock in what you've already got, correct?
Yeah. I mean, you can't really change too much during the season. You got to just try to like little improvements, I don't know, just like a release point, your base, just your momentum in your shot. Like there's nothing technical you can really change.
You've mentioned a couple things that you've learned along the way. I'm curious what I feel like everybody would go into the draft. Maybe I'm wrong here, but like go in and be like, it's the NBA. These are the best players in the world. Expect, really good players. What surprised you though still? Like telling yourself, this is a tough league. This is what you're going to have to adjust to. It's going to be difficult. What still was able to break through and make you go, man, I maybe even underestimated that?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a lot of NBA basketball, just growing up, high school, college, and just the basketball IQ of all these players, and just kind of the little things that each player has, especially the star players have, that separates them from other people. I mean, with every guy, it's different. just how they can get open, how they create their shots, screening angles, just all those different things that kind of separate them and make them special. I think that's kind of been the one thing that I've focused on a lot this year, especially guarding people Harden's step back or like PG's sweep through Euros, his mid-range game. Just a lot of different things that you got to focus on. You only have a day and a half to kind of figure that out. So that's kind of one of the things that's kind of surprised me and that I've kind of learned and will help me a lot next year too.
Well, when LeBron does that look down at the ball kind of spin, and everybody says the same thing, like, how do you not see it? It's
the strive
like
for greatness.
Though, right? Yeah, but like you mentioned the Harden step back, like that's a patented move that we've been watching for a decade, and then you get out there and you're like, how did he get me with it, right? Like how does it still end up happening when you know it's going to happen?
Like some of these guys are just so good, and there's just some things that you can't guard. You can only just kind of contest and just kind of play, like do as best as you can, honestly. So yeah, I mean, yeah, these guys are the best in the world, and some of these moves, like you can't fully guard like some guys you could in college and high school. So I mean, it's definitely it's fun to kind of like dive deeper into these types of things.
What's been the one thing that was the hardest for you to guard this year so far? Who was the one guy that had something you were like, that's more than I thought it was?
Yeah, I mean Shai's offhand, like how he uses that, it's unique. It separates him a lot. Just the way he's able to draw fouls, and I mean it's all his offhand too, and his change of pace. That's kind of that's one that it's definitely tough, and just guarding him more will help me a lot, and just watching more film on him.
You have an interesting perspective because of where you played basketball in college, and we mentioned a couple names. I'm just curious, like you mentioned you watch a lot of basketball. When you have downtime, if you're watching any of the tournament games or you're familiar with some of these guys, there's a lot of debate. Is Zach Edey a Yao Ming type, or is he a third center on somebody's team? He's so slow. And DJ Burns Jr., oh, he's Akeem Olajuwon, a little more body weight. Is that like, do you watch this and kind of evaluate it through that lens of, I think this could work, or I think that could work? Like, how do you evaluate some of the guys that have been talked about lately?
I do, yeah. Now I feel like being in the NBA this last year kind of gives you a perspective at like kind of what people look for and kind of like their ceilings and stuff and how they could impact an NBA team. I mean, Zach, yeah, I've gotten to know Zach just playing in the Big Ten with him and doing pre-draft with him like the last couple of years, and he can move his feet. Like he's not slow at all or anything like that, and he's incredibly skilled and talented. And I think like he'll be able to translate. I mean, he's 7'4". You can't block his shot. He's physically, he's really strong. And I feel like defensively, like he can still play that drop coverage and deter a lot of shots. And that's kind of what you want to see.
General Manager Kris Murray. I see the post-playing career already coming together now. Already got the scouting evaluations going. All right, let me go ahead and get my draft board lined up here. What has been we'll go with the tough part first. What has been the toughest part of this season for you?
I'd just say the grind. Obviously mentally, everyone's not perfect. So just being able to get through the season mentally, it's 82 games. It's the first time I've played this many games, and probably even a little bit more if you include the G League. So just kind of getting through the season, just kind of how I evaluate my mental and kind of what I do to take my mind off basketball sometimes and just kind of give myself a refresher.
What do you do there? What do you do to keep yourself from kind of losing it during the season?
Yeah, it's just I'm just spending time with my girlfriend, my dogs, just my family. It's huge for me. Golfing, I'll go hit on the range. Golf's huge for me. I watch a lot of golf every weekend, so like those two things are huge for me. Like to spend time with my family and just playing different sport, golf. That's kind of my sport. So just those two things have helped me a lot this year. Just kind of getting through it, and I'm a big movie guy too. So watching movies, just kind of take my mind off basketball every now and then, and just kind of then getting back and refocusing.
I have a lot of non-basketball questions now because you've piqued my interest with golf. I'm an absolutely lousy golfer who loves to golf. I think I'm like a 16 right now. I don't know if you want to reveal. Some people are really weird with their handicap number. It's an odd thing in that sport. Who is your favorite player, and how would you rate yourself as a golfer?
Favorite golfer is probably, I got a few. Rory, Colin Morikawa, Sung J M, Ricky Fowler. Enjoy watching those guys.
Non-live guys, I noticed.
I mean, I watched the PGA.
Yes. Yes, me too. Nobody watches live.
Flags have been planted. I like
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean, I would like I like watching those guys that are on live, especially in the majors. It's fun to compete and stuff. But I mean, yeah, I played golf in high school. Played varsity a little bit. But yeah, I'm usually around bogey golf. Trying to get back to the mid 80s this summer, this off season.
Can I ask you what your lowest score is? And then like, can we just share a moment after you reveal the number of not even being able to put into words what the drive home is like when you shoot like an 82 and just nothing can touch you that day. It's the greatest day of your life.
Yeah, like the best I ever shot in a tournament was an 80, and then yeah, that was probably the best shot I shot in a tournament. Like obviously just messing around and stuff, I shot better than that, but I'd probably say like in an actual tournament, I shot an 80.
See see, you've been underselling your game to me because you told me you were struggling more than that.
Well, now I am, but I've gone on the range a couple of times in the last few weeks, and I've been hitting the ball pretty well.
What's the weakest part of Kris Murray's golf game? What's the one area you like, I wish I was better in this? I know it's everything, but like, what's the one thing?
It's my short game is pretty good. It's everything from 150 and in. That's what I need.
You got the new irons though. Are they not working out?
No, they're working out. That's why I'm excited for the summer. Like it's gonna be good. Like I played during All-Star break. I was 150 and I hit it to like a foot and a half. And I was like, I like that. That's why I got these irons.
That's why I got these irons.
That justifies the purchase right there. Are you a pitching wedge, a 9-iron, 8-iron? What are you from 150 at? What's your club of choice?
150. I'll probably go 9, maybe a half 8. My 8's really good, so I'll probably go half or 3/4 8 sometimes.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So now we got to get out and just find some way to get on the course.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to the tough part. What's been the thing that you didn't expect that you've really loved this year? Whether it's being out on the road with the guys or rookie duties or whatever it is.
I think it's honestly the travel. I kind of thought the travel wouldn't be great, just because we're in Portland. It's kind of far away from everything. But I mean, I kind of enjoy just relaxing. I mean, I watch a lot of movies, so it kind of makes the time go by, and just visiting all these different cities has been really cool. And I mean, I've been to a lot of cities that I've never been to, so just kind of getting that experience for the first time has been really cool.
What's the city that surprised you the most?
Trying to think. Toronto. I didn't know Toronto was that big.
It's a big city.
Yeah, Salt Lake City. I didn't realize it's beautiful over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a huge mountain guy, so obviously Portland.
Whoa! The Iowa guy is a big mountain guy?
When you see just flat for like your whole life and you experience some mountains, yeah, it changes. Yeah.
Look, I know they're different states, but my grandma and my aunt and I had an uncle, and they lived in Oklahoma forever, and I had to go visit them, unfortunately. But I had to go there, and like they would point to hills and call them mountains, and I'd always had to be like, those aren't mountains.
Yeah.
Those are hills. Yeah. You get a lot of that in Iowa at all?
Iowa, no, it's just flat. But we got there's actually a mountain in Cedar Rapids. It's called Mount Trashmore. It's like where all the waste goes. So I guess that's our only mountain.
You can stand in a beer can in Iowa and see every corner.
Exactly.
It's tough out there. All right. I'm going to dive into a couple listener questions here. This one from Slater Smith. What's your favorite restaurant / food in Portland so far?
The food trucks are some of my favorites. There's been a few good ones. I can't remember the names of them, but food trucks, that's what I like a lot about Portland.
Yeah.
The food truck stands.
Did the food surprise you? The food scene here? I know maybe you haven't been to every big restaurant and whatnot, but like, has the food scene surprised you in a good way so far?
It has, yeah. I mean, it's really good. It's up there. Like I saw someone with like De'Aaron Fox or something said like Portland was one of the best food scenes
Mhm.
NBA. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely up there. I'm excited to try a lot more.
Who, who? What is, if there has been one? If it didn't, it would be the first time I've ever heard of one. What is the best and or worst trick you and your brother have played on somebody swapping places?
We've never done that. Believe it or not.
Really?
What?
Swap places.
You guys look so much alike. That's such a waste.
Yeah,
Do it one time.
no, like, do you think Keegan would really want to do that?
But you tell him to be quiet and you just take over and play into the character. That's what it's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily get away with stuff like that. Easily.
Oh,
Especially in high.
yeah. I mean, because I think there's twins and then there's you guys.
Yeah, we look crazy identical. I feel like now we don't look as similar, but when we were growing up, we looked exactly the same.
Not once, really.
Not once, never.
Oh, I would have put that at like plus 5,000.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Can I applaud the parents real quick? Like,
right?
The fact that you didn't pull any pranks like that is an amazing feat to the parents of you not wanting to betray the trust. I like it. That's shout out, mom and dad.
God,
Yeah.
if I had a twin, one of us would be in jail for the other one's problems. This is one that we always get. Off season, and the season's still going, but this off season, it's from year 1 to year 2 is kind of like, okay, I know the rails are down for who I'm trying to be. So what is the plan or the process that you're looking at towards this off season of how you want to improve and what you want to look towards in year 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's just steady growth kind of with my all around game. Just get stronger, work on my jump shot a lot, become more of a ball handler. So working on my ball handles. Yeah, so I mean, just kind of a little bit of everything. I feel like I'm kind of scratching the surface. I have a lot of potential in my game and with my athletic ability and everything like that. So that's gonna be important for me, and just kind of I feel like the game will slow down a lot more. Going to this off season and into next year. So just be able to read the game a little bit better. But most importantly, just work on my jump shot. I feel like that'll unlock a lot, especially just working off of closeouts, which is I think I said before is like one of the best parts of my game, and just reading those second and third defenders and just making plays out of that. I feel like that's gonna be a big step in my game. It'll help me a lot going to the summer and next season.
What real quick on a follow up on that, what physically, you mentioned the game difference, and I'm always curious how that goes for college guys to go to the NBA and play so many more games. I mean, I have a heating pad actually on my back. I'm 37. I'm washed.
Yeah.
What physically for you stuck out where you were like, oh, there's a difference? Is it the legs? Is it the arm? Like, how physically have you been feeling through that process of adjusting to what that schedule is?
Yeah, I feel like that felt great. Like durability wise, I'm fine. It's just like sustaining that throughout the year. So for me, it's obviously that my recovery process, and but it's really core and legs for me. That's the biggest thing. I feel like my quickness is there, everything like that. So core, getting stronger in my lower body, it'll help me a lot.
What's something in the NBA training world that I know the college world is hyper advanced now. What's something you hadn't done in college or previously in the NBA in the training world, whether it be acupuncture or something along those lines that you're doing now in the NBA?
Yeah, honestly, it's just treatment and recovery. That's kind of been the most important things. I'm just trying to treat my body right. I usually lift after every game, and that's mostly just it's just recovery for me. Just making sure I'm sustaining my weight, sustaining my strength and everything like that. But no, the worst thing I've ever done was in college with acupuncture, actually, with dry needling in my foot. That was the worst thing I've ever done.
Okay, JT's trying to get me to do it on my hip. He just says the worst thing you've ever done.
No.
You're not helping me, Kris.
Well, the bottom of my foot, that was the worst, because I think that's like the most sensitive spot or something like that. That's the worst.
Man, okay. Now,
No,
Did you have to lift in college after games, or was that a new thing for you too? Because I remember seeing that for the first time from the media angle. Myers Leonard, I think, walked in, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "Lifted, man." And I'm like, "You just played 31 minutes. Like, what are you talking about?" I didn't know that was a thing. Was that the first for you, or did you guys do that in college too?
No, we would do it before a little bit, but it was more of a stretch. But no, lifting afterwards, I like it a lot more. I'm in a good state of mind afterwards. I've always found lifting just kind of puts me in a good place. So doing that after a game, win or loss, it helps.
Decompressing, right? Kind of just like
Exactly.
breathing out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've come in frustrated in the locker room before.
Oh yeah. Yeah. More times than not.
Were you a sore loser growing up?
Yeah, I didn't like to lose. Especially, yeah, growing up playing baseball, basketball, having a twin brother and being competitive.
Yeah, I can only
It's
imagine that.
Yeah, it brings it out of you. So I've always been competitive. I've always wanted to win at the highest level. So that's always been me.
What's that been like here? We'll kind of get you out of here on this. It's obviously been a tough season, wins and losses, but I've been around this franchise for 12 years, 13 years, and I've seen some pretty great locker rooms, and I've seen some not so great ones. And even on nights where I think you guys are going to struggle with a loss, you guys still have kept the vibes in check. What do you think has been important in maintaining that?
Yeah, we got great leaders in our locker room. Like right now, we're focusing on ourselves, and just it kind of sucks with all the injuries that we've had this year. Just not really been able to kind of create that chemistry like we wanted to on the court. But we got great leaders in the locker room. Guys who kind of show up every single day with the same attitude, same good attitude. And right now we're just focusing on ourselves, and that's kind of been the message. It's just to kind of build good habits going into the off season.
Rapid fire, best dresser on the team.
Jeremy Grant.
Okay, that's an easy one. Who's worst?
Probably me. I wear the same. I wear Uggs, shorts, or sweatpants to every single game. That's gotta be me.
Okay.
Statistically speaking, though, to defend you a little bit, because I like wearing a white tee and shorts and nothing else. Statistically speaking, you're actually the most normal dressed of the team, but Jeremy's got fashion, and DA's got fashion, and Scoot's got fashion. More normal, Kris. You're more normal. You're one of us. I love it.
I'm just like your average Joe, kind of. I'm one of you guys for sure.
There you go. We love to see
One
it.
of us.
One of us. All right. Best singer on the team.
DeAndre Ayton or Scoot.
There you go. I was gonna go. Okay, who's worst?
The worst. Oh man,
I've heard some voices in there.
that's why I don't sing. First of all.
It is the singingest locker room I've ever been in.
It is, yeah. I don't know. We got a lot of guys who like to sing.
No, really, you do. There's like 7 guys who at any given point will just start singing.
Yeah. So I can't. I'll say Malcolm, I guess. he's like me, so I can't imagine he's any good.
Okay. All right.
Do you have a movie road dog? Like if you're in town and you got maybe 2 nights or something, and you said you're a big movie guy. I'm just curious, like, do you make it an effort to go see movies on the road? And you got anybody on the team that goes with you in those?
I actually did a lot during the pre-draft process, but right now there hasn't been any movies that I like to see, that I want to see. But like in the pre-draft, like the Spider-Man movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot which Marvel movie came out. Transformers: Rise of the Beast came out. So there's a lot of good movies that are coming out in that time.
You a comic book guy? You're a comic book movie guy?
Yeah, love Marvel.
There
you go.
You're not down with Godzilla Kong?
I haven't watched it yet. I need to though.
Okay, so there we go. There's one for you.
Have you ever heard of Letterboxd?
Yeah.
I have an account on there. So
you doing reviews?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Okay. We're gonna have to get that one and have to dive into that and check see what's in there. All right, we don't want to keep you too long because I know it's getting late there on the East Coast. You guys are in the midst of the world's longest road trip. You guys have got 4 left on this trip now, including Charlotte.
We got Charlotte,
Washington, Boston.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's right. You've always gone through 4, but you guys have 7 more days. That's what it is.
Last game's on Sunday.
Yeesh.
Man.
Okay.
From Boston to Portland's gonna be one of those.
Oh no way! Being done at like out of the arena at midnight on Sunday night, and then flying across the country and landing at 2?
It'll be late. It'll be like
2?
6.5 hour flight.
Yeah, but hey, at least you get the hours back, which
True. We get 3 of them.
you're not going to kill you. But hey, man, I appreciate you taking some time. Nothing but success for you. We appreciate you coming on here, and we'll check back in with you probably this summer around Summer League.
For sure. Yeah. Appreciate you for having me.
Hey,
Thanks,
anytime.
Kris. Appreciate it, man. My brother-in-law thinks you're the future. He tells me every time you guys are on TV, he's like, "There's the future." I'm like, "Okay, all right."
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks you guys for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. You can follow us on social media at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague, at Jack Ramsays. Email the show, jackramsays@gmail.com. Until next time,